Fall, one of my favorite seasons, and I'm so ready for it. The summer in here in Newport was absolutely amazing, and I'm so glad that we had the opportunity to just, embrace everything that Newport has and then some. But I'm ready for change. And one of those changes is coming back downstairs in my grow room and really realigning myself with the towers, what I'm doing, my purpose, and I want to share that with you today, including some updates. I'm Sherry, and this is Tower Gardening Made Easy. One of the things I did this summer is pick up a few more towers, and I'm really happy that I did. So we are now up to 12 towers. One is outside and the rest are down here. Now only 8 are live at the moment, and I have some plantings that are over in the nursery that I'm going to be sharing with you in a little bit for what I'm doing for my fall crops. But what I want to do today is I want to give you guys a really good update on the live towers that are planted and what's going on and how I changed a few things in this room as to how I build out my towers. So you definitely want to stay tuned for that. Also, we're going to do a little bit of harvesting, and I want to go over some of the seeds that I'm using. We just have so much to do. So I really hope you guys stay tuned to the end. This is going to be a jam-packed video, and I'm so happy to share it with you. So let's start with the baby green tower. So as you remember, we built this tower on the home, okay, and we were a little concerned about the wobbliness of it because it was built all these little tiny sections. And I said if I did it again, I'd put in one of the mid-sections from the main towers just to give it a little more stability. But I think as things grew, as you can see, they're pretty developed at this point, it has given it some weight. So it's less, topsy-turvy, if you will. But remember when we planted, this was the rainbow chard, and then we had some Boston bib lettuce. And then down here, remember we talked about companion plants? Here's my basil right here. And then the next one I think was the Simpson. This is the black seeded Simpson. And then I think we've got some of the red, I think it's called red salad ball down here. So it's all coming in really great. Nutrients, I keep it around, I want to say on the lower side because it's still pretty warm in here, about 1.6. And I keep the pH pretty much on everything in this room around 6. So I want to talk a little bit about the towers and how I'm setting them up a little bit different. So in all of the towers, obviously you can see the Swiss chard here and then here. Basil is considered, which is right down here, a companion plant. And what do I mean by that? A companion plant is something that if you've got a small bug in the room, like a black fly, white fly, even aphids, they don't like it. So every day I come down here and just kind of touch it, and then spread it around because it's on my hands now, and just touch my leaves, all right? And that really does the trick. Now, there are a few things in my room that I'm going to share in a minute that help this companion plant process. And we'll go through that as we go through each tower. But this is now part of my process of when I now do a tower, whether I need the companion plant or not, whether it's something edible or not. I'm putting it in the towers as an insurance policy. So I suggest you do that as well. All right, let's go ahead and move on. I want to give you guys a little bit of an update on the tomato towers. So if you watched my video recently about Forever Tomatoes, okay, this is the tower that's been going for a little bit, and it is really just chock full of tomatoes, and it's got a little bit of yellowing on the leaves, but honestly, I think it's from the wand. It's not from the pH of the nutrients. And you've actually got some little flowers down here. So I need to harvest some of this off there. There's a lot of tomatoes. I'll probably be giving some away, up in the gym and to neighbors and friends. It's really, this is probably too much for me. And I still have like a 4-pound bag from the last tower that's in my freezer that I'm going to go ahead and make some soup with it pretty soon. But remember in the video, the Forever Tomatoes, I took the clones, these little guys, these little shoots up here, and we went ahead and we put them into rock wall last week. And I want to give everybody an update on this. So remember, I did not put them in the nursery. I literally poked them into rock wall and stuck them in the tower. So I want to get up close and I want to show you that they're all doing great. I think I had to pull one or two, which really wasn't a big deal. But what I'm most impressed with is right here. Remember how I talked about, even if you pull off of the existing tower, which is right here, you find a shoot that has a flower on it, which is right there. Go ahead and cut it and make a clone of it. So if you see right here, that's what I did. And what are these? Teeny tiny cherry tomatoes. So I'm not hurting the flower. I'm just go ahead and, give this a head start on making more tomatoes. So don't be afraid to cut those flowers. So right up here at the top, here's another one. That was an existing flower, and we'll see. Maybe it didn't, but underneath, here's two more buds. And there's buds over here as well. Most of these actually either have a flower and or tomato. So here's another one that's right there that has two tiny tomatoes. So it's really, really easy, as you see from this process of where I'm going to go ahead and harvest to the best of my ability. And then when I'm done, you see how fast this tower popped up. And it's going to go ahead and grow. And again, the nutrients on here, I keep them, I don't know, 1.8 or so. And I'll bump them up in the winter, but right now I can keep them on the lower side. And again, I keep the pH right around 6 to 6.5, no more, no less. That's where they like, and that's where they grow the best. And these guys are really self-sufficient. They will continue to do what I need them to do. And when this gets to be like this guy, then I will flip-flop them back to here. So you're never out of tomatoes. I think I mentioned in that video that I don't think I've purchased a tomato in almost a year, guys. So as you can see, not only is this a great way of doing it, especially if you can find another tower on Facebook Marketplace, or you just buy one, you can see the link in my bio or on the website. Eventually, it's going to pay for itself. So when you buy a little thing of cherry tomatoes at the grocery store, you're spending probably maybe $6. So think of the amount of tomatoes that are right there, that you're using, that you're harvesting for your family. So don't be afraid to do this method of starting one, harvesting, and then starting another. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. That is the tomato. And I want to do something really, really fun for you guys, because remember the archway. Get ready, guys. All right, so remember this archway that I found on the street, and I'm going to go through this whole thing with you. So it's no longer cucumbers. I pulled those guys off, and you can see that I strung it up with, of course, some nautical line, because it's Newport, but there's a reason why I used this thick, thick line, and I kept it white. So in my room, I'm sure you have heard me mention in the past video that I got a little bit of infestation of aphids. Now we have cured that problem, knock on wood here, and I'm going to be sharing a product with you very, very soon. But today was the first day that I came down that I think I found one, and I squished it, and we're good to go. So I added the line. As you can see, I kind of tied it up here, and then I strung it and went across with it. Now, this isn't cucumber. This is watermelon. And I want to see if we can't get this thing, to be as big as we did over on the other watermelon tower. But look what's right there, guys. Let me get down a little bit lower. There she is, right there. Big watermelon. Big watermelon. And then we got a little one over here. And there are a few that are around, but they're small, so it's not, I'll update you guys on those when they get a little bit bigger. But as you can see right there, there is a female. You can see just by the inside of it, get up close. And I pollinated this guy this morning, but they love this. They absolutely love the trellis, and I just balanced them on this rope. Now this rope is pretty thick, and it's going to hold the weight of these guys as they grow. Versus on the other tower, that was a little bit of a struggle because it was on a home, it wasn't even on a flex. But I really do think that this guy is going to take off. I can see all of this wonderful, like, new growth since I strung this up. And this is the first time I'm showing this to you guys, because I've just back in my room, and I'm just, rededicating myself to this. Now, I'm going to do this the same way what I did with the cucumbers, meaning I'm going to obviously, let them branch out and do their thing, and then, trim back as needed. But most importantly, um, the weight of the watermelons as they grow, they'll be supported, obviously by their vine, but this rope is really thick and it can hold. So it's on both sides. So I think even with just a little bit of a bend, we'll be okay. I don't really think I'm going to have to hammock like I did last time. But this is the new watermelon tower, and she is beautiful. And I really do think that she's going to do really, really well on this trellis. So we're definitely going to want to stay tuned for this little tower. And this is done now on a flex, not a home. So I want to see the fruit get a little bit bigger and produce more of it. So let's go ahead and swivel around. And this is the new cucumber. I planted this out, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. And I'm using that Space 80 like I did before. And we've got it on a tall section. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We got 7 sections, and then the lights. And they're all doing really well. My room still is just a little bit warm, but I've had to close the windows and just keep the AC on. So I've had a little spot here and there of powdery mildew, but with this product that I'm using for the aphids, you can use it on the powdery mildew as well, and it got rid of it. So I'm not really concerned, but I'm just keeping my eye on it because that definitely does spread. So these guys look really healthy. And again, I'm using the Space 80, keeping the nutrients, like I said, around 6. I'm sorry, the pH around 6. And the nutrients right now, I want to say they're probably like 1.4. Again, I'm keeping everybody on the lower side right now just because of the heat in the room. All right, so let's go ahead and move on. So here is a zucchini and summer squash tower. Now, let's go all the way to the top. Let's have some fun. So you're saying to yourself, what is that? So when you're dealing with a little bit of aphids or black flies or white flies, these are on Amazon. I'm going to be adding them to the website, and it's a bug light. I've got 2 of them, and I rotate them. And what I love to do is take, you'll see in a minute, the fan, and I blow the fan basically just gently, to shimmy the leaves. And whatever's on there doesn't like it. And what they'll end up doing is they will fly to the light. And before you know it, I think I left some dead carcasses up there. Get rid of there. You can kind of see them, and you just clean the bottom from time to time. And then that cures your flying bug issue. So it really is a godsend that I actually saw them, believe it or not, on somebody else's tower. And I reached out to them, and they're like, oh, it's a bug light. So people will say that aphids don't fly. That's incorrect. They do. When they get to a certain stage, they do have wings, and they will go right into the light and get zapped. But you have to use some, other agents. I won't use the word chemical because the product that I'm going to introduce to the community very soon is all organic. So as you can see right here, this is summer squash, and she's pretty big. Look at that cord right there. So nice and thick. And pull the light out just a smidge because I don't want that on the leaf. But as you can see, she's really pretty. She's produced a couple fruit for me so far, and I got another one down here. Somehow on this tower that got mixed up. I don't know how that happened, but I was trying to do all one and it got a little mixed up. So here's another one. Here's a summer squash right there. And then down below, we'll get in there nice and tight. This big guy, this big boy right here, this is all zucchini. So I've actually harvested quite a bit off of that one. And you can see the difference in the leaves. They're just really thick, some very thorny. And remember we talked about back in the spring about you really got to let the plant mature. And what do I mean by that? You got to let the leaves and the stem get thick, big. Now, you don't necessarily need all of this foliage. You definitely want to trim it back. And I also want to point one other thing too. I did not do this on the cucumber tower, but I probably will. Again, you have to put companion plants with every tower. this helps. So right here, as you can see, this is marigold. I trimmed a bunch of the dead heads off the other day. So, but even if you jiggle it, okay, there's still oil in the leaves. You can smell your fingers, and bugs don't like it. So they will definitely run and hide, or they will go right towards to the blue light. And on the back side, let me just see. As you can see, this is my little chair right here. I'll back up just a little bit so you can see I'm kind of bouncing around here. And the chair with the fan. And it's just jiggling just a little bit. And that's all you need. Just enough to annoy them. And they will fly right out and they'll fly right up into that light. So this is the back side of that big boy, that zucchini plant. And then right to the left of it, right here, that's another zucchini. And as you can see right there and right there, there's some more companion plants. Up on top, I got another summer squash, and then straight ahead right there is another summer squash as well. So the other thing that I want to point out that I'm doing differently, not only am I adding companion plants, but I'm leaving some ports open. And why? Because you want, if you're going to grow squash, you want to give it room. So you can't jam it packed full of zucchini and summer squash if you're going to mix them or do the same, because they just need room to grow. If you crowd them, they're not going to grow and they're not going to produce fruit. You need them to get to that size. And as you can see how right here, all this right here, you just got to keep pruning that back, and then it will continue to grow, and it will still give you that beautiful, foliage right in the front. And then you can tell also by the color of the leaves. See how dark and old these are? I mean, they're still really healthy. Old meaning they're just mature. They're in really, really good shape. And if you get in close, I've got some fruit in there. So this bad boy right here is, ready to take off. I've got one back here, and then there's one down there. And then deep down is another companion plant. The other thing I like to do with these guys is have a few more with the squash, because aphids just love squash plants. I have on a different towel, I'll show you in a minute, some of the big leaves resting on top of a companion plant because the aphids and bugs don't like them. So again, you have to use all different methods to keep everything at bay. Now, the other thing I want to say too is that I'm building my towers shorter. And why is that? Well, it's just easier to prune. I don't have to get on and off a ladder. I increased the amount of towers, so I don't need to make them as tall as the watermelon, but I needed to because of the tower on that one and the cucumber. I don't know. I just was building one day and probably wasn't paying attention, but I let that one get big. But the problem is, if you see at the very, very top, and I'll show you, here's your cage. And then here's this section. So eventually, I'm probably going to have to prune back this section just a little bit. But see all the open ports? You got to let them get big. You got to let them grow, and they will give you good sized fruit. If you crowd them, they're going to give you baby fruit. We don't want that because you need enough to feed your family. All right, so I've got a couple towers here that are not in use, and I'm going to show you over in the nursery what I'm planting for these guys. So this is one that does not have a cage. So I'll put something there that doesn't necessarily need it. But I've replanted the Blue Lake beans. Now, I will say, in terms of critters in the room, black flies, aphids, whiteflies, they don't like beans. So the tower that's next to the bean, I had an issue, but it's now corrected. But as you can see how big and beautiful and lush this is, I don't think I ever had one aphid, not one. They don't like it. And see, there's actually some beans. So we're going to come back here and do a little bit of a harvest in a minute. This particular seed was made by Botanical Interest. Let me get that for you. So if you are a green bean lover, like I am, let me just find it. I will tell you, I'm not an affiliate, but I will tell you this particular bean right here is what's on there. And I literally planted the whole thing out. I don't think I skipped one port. And I don't know, it probably took 4 to 5 weeks to get to this size. And once it starts to flower, and you can go watch my time lapse, it starts to throw off your fruit really, really fast. Now, some white spotting, it's either from the light or it was misting when I was trying to get the aphids under control in the room, I think by using a Castile soap that did not work. So I think that's just splatter, but it's no big deal. It's not going to hurt it. I just left this tower alone, and it's ready to be harvested, at least some of it. You don't want to let the beans go too long because they don't taste very good if they're too thick. Okay, so here's my problem child. This particular tower, as you can see right there, there's a window. When the window is open, I think that's where the aphids came from, and it attacked this particular tower. Now, what did I do? Obviously tried to get it under control as soon as possible. Close the windows, get the AC going down here, and then just really, really in control of the infestation. But as you can see right here, I actually changed the tower too. I took it apart, took the plants that I could salvage, and I gave it a new tower. So I have enough that I can go ahead and rotate. So I took it apart, put the plants on the floor, and gave it, a new one, filled it up, nutrients, pH, whatnot, and then put what was salvageable back into the clean tower. Actually, you can see the lights need to be pushed down. And now it's beautiful. So you can see right here, I have companion, and under here I have companion. This whole plant is sitting. Let me show you. Let me get close. You can see this. I'm not kidding you when it comes to companion. See this whole squash plant right here? It's sitting on a marigold plant. Sitting. And all I got to do is shake it, and those little buggers don't like it. So they leave. So I just leave it. And I've got a couple little flowers, down there. So I can pull those in a little bit for some seeding. And then I've got another one right there. And I believe there's one right there. And it's doing really well ever since I corrected the problem. And again, I'm really excited to share this product with you, but I wanted to wait to make sure, because I don't want to share something with the community and then have it not be legit. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want to have you guys go and say, hey, I'm sponsoring this product, or go ahead to Amazon and grab it. It works, when I don't know. When you're dealing with aphids, they can really do a lot of harm in your room. And I did not want that to happen. I really wanted, to make sure that it was, doing what it's supposed to. And I can say at this point that all of my leaves look really good, even the new ones, because those aphids will go right after that new foliage because it doesn't have anything on it. But you've got to stay tuned, because if you ever have a problem with spider mites, aphids, flies, yes, again, companion plants and the blue lights, but this one particular product is amazing. So that's what we have in the room right now for towers. Let's go ahead and head over into the nursery. All right, so we're in the nursery, so I want to show you what's going on in here. In the first bin, we have 3 towers, 2 that have cages and 1 that does not. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is, in the first one, I'll move the lights out of the way. I did, believe it or not, I'm going to do, actually, it might be better if I just tilt you guys up a little bit. I did 10 winter squash, butternut squash, and then those are right here. And then right here, 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 and here, I planted some basil. Remember, companion plants, so that when these guys get big, they're going to be a good size too. And hopefully this will combat anything that potentially is still in the room, which hopefully at this point will be nothing. So yeah, so put this back on our little dome. And then on the next tower, so that would be tower 1, I did summer squash. So I did some more summer squash, and then I think for the companion plant that I planted and this guy, I think I did marigolds. So we've got, again, 10 and then 5 of those. And on the last tower, I believe I did stardust zucchini. Okay, and I think I also did marigolds for the companion plant as well. So as you can see, a couple of things have really changed in the room. When I'm planting out, I'm always going to be planting a companion at this point, whether it's edible or not, just to be on the safe side. So, having gone through an infestation was the scariest thing ever, because I really thought at one point, I said to my husband, I'm not going to lose this war. I'm going to win it. And I did. I really do, between closing the windows and keeping the AC on, which he wasn't going crazy about, because it's so cool here in Newport. It stopped him because I really do think they're coming in and out of the window, and that was part of the problem. And I found where they went to the first tower, and he was like, "Yeah, this is it." So between the blue lights and everything else, I have won the war. I really do. I feel like I have. And when I find one, I just squish it. It's not a big deal. But I'm going to keep up. I'm going to finish the video for you guys on this particular product. And I'm telling you, if you have more than a couple towers, and now that we're going back indoors, and I will also too, if you were taking your towers from the outside to the inside, I'm going to give you one big suggestion. Ready? Take everything out, either spray it or toss it and start over, because there are things on your tower that you don't see, that if you bring them indoors, and if you have towers like I do now that are, obviously out in, you will be infested with something, whether it's spider mites, aphids, or flies. So don't chance it. Really just be very careful, be very vigilant. You got to be looking at your towers every single day, and the minute you spot one, you probably have 50 and you don't know it. So you really, really need to be on the ball with that. So the reason why I don't want to just say, hey, this is the product, I want to go through it. I want to explain it. I want to tell you what's in it. The bottle instructions on how to make a smaller quantity versus for somebody who has a large nursery. I want to go through that with you. And I also want to go through the ingredients to encourage you guys to, yes, get it. But it is safe even to spray on your harvest. It won't be an issue. The individual who suggested it to me is an owner of a well-known nursery up in Wayland, Mass. Thank you, Jack. And he said, this is going to do it. He said, this is what we use. So I was like, well, if you're using it, and then I did my own research, I felt confident. So I can't wait to share that with you. So enough about bugs. Ew. Let's get to some good stuff. So let's go over and harvest some of those beans. So as I mentioned before, the Blue Lake beans, there are some beans that need to come off before they get too thick. They taste much better when they are like this. You don't want them to get too thick because the exterior it's very tough, even if you cook it. So I'm going to go ahead and just harvest a little bit. I don't know what's on here. I really haven't paid attention to the tower, honestly. The only thing I've done at this point is vacuum the flowers. They're on the floor because they're everywhere. Check the water, check the pH, check the nutrients. But other than that, I just let it go because I just know that this particular seed, this bean seed, works so well in your towers. You can go to Botanical Interest and buy it there. I should probably put it on the website just to make it easier. But it really is the best bean if you like green beans. So I'm going to just harvest what I can. I think I'll be eating these tonight, make a little stir fry or something. I haven't had beans in a while. I had a big bag in the freezer that we used. We used them all up. So I was like, it's time to go ahead and plant some more. But there were so many plants that I planted, and there's so many flowers. I've learned that as you plant them, because I plant them all together, they all kind of come up at the same time. You may have a little bit of a window of harvesting, but you're better off just when they're all done, take the tower apart, clean it, put it in the dishwasher, and start again, because these guys grow really, really fast. They're low maintenance, super yummy, super healthy for you. And you don't have to pay a whole lot of attention. So I'm going to just go ahead and clip away and then show you what I got. It'll probably be enough for two people. And the foliage in here is so thick. So, like I said, I haven't really paid a whole lot of attention to the tower. And so I've got some yellowing leaves. What does this mean? It's just because the inside's not getting any light. And that's okay. That's okay. They'll still produce. You'll still find beans way in there. This particular tower gets pretty bushy too. Look at, there's tons of flowers back here. So a couple weeks ago, probably like 2 weeks ago, I went on this thing called the Secret Garden Tour in Newport. And basically what it was is people opened their private homes to go and, view their gardens. So you can go ahead and research it. Maybe what I'll do is I'll put a link so you guys can go check it out. But we get to go see some of these properties. They're in Newport. One was on the water on Ocean Drive. Oh my God, it was beautiful. Like just beautiful. There was another one. Her name is Betty Perdue, and she has a mansion that's over off of Bellevue, and it was like walking Versailles. It was absolutely gorgeous. And then, strangely enough, I ran into somebody getting a pedicure a week ago, and I was telling her how much fun and telling her what I do. And she said, you should talk to Betty. So Betty is a pretty prominent person and has written a bunch of books on gardening. And Betty wants to talk to me. So I have a feeling that our towers, as tower gardeners, might be in the flower show next year. So if you caught that video of me inside the flower show, don't be surprised if you see me there with a couple of our towers. So I just need to find out what Miss Perdue wants in terms of what to grow. I mean, obviously the biggest, easiest thing would be greens, but I think I want to do something special. So you definitely want to stay tuned on that. I'm really excited because I just think that a lot of people know about tower gardening, hydroponics and aeroponics, but they just, they kind of glance over it. They don't really dive into it. And I really want to bring this because I believe in it. I believe in our community and I believe in what I'm doing. I believe in my grocery store. So I just love it. Even though I had a little bit of a trip up with our little bugs, I just believe in what we do. So let me see if I can find some more beans. And the amount of money that I save at the grocery store, even though like all the nurseries and stuff have got, like farm stands, I feel like I got my own farm stand right here. So my best find this summer with adding a tower, I think I mentioned it, was somebody right over the bridge had a home, bought it, never used it, set it up, had lights for $100. Yep, crazy. I'm like, I'll take it off your hands, no problem. Not a problem, sir. I'm doing pretty well. Whoops. Got a fair amount, but I know they're in here. They hide. They're deep in here. They hide. If you guys haven't seen that time lapse video, I can't help it. I'm in here and I've got a prune of the beans growing. You should definitely watch that. Go into my playlist, and I can link that down below too, of the time lapse because it really is very cool to watch. They grow so fast. Once they bud up like they are, they're so pretty. They just pop up and grow. And you got to be careful because, like I said, they taste best when they're on the thinner side. If they get too thick, then they're not as good. But I think I learned that lesson on the last tower. But I've been watching them because I can just see them on the outskirts of here, and I just go, if these are ready, then I know the ones deeper down are ready too. So I'll grab a few more. And then, of course, you find ones that you didn't know were in there, and those are the thick ones. So those are the ones too that if you want to repurpose the seeds and you let a couple get to seed, these are the seeds that you're actually using, to plant. You don't have to buy them. So it'd be like a second generation. Let me see. What do we got back here? Come on. I know there's more. Give them up. I know. There's more. Oh my God. These leaves too are so big and so beautiful. They're just gorgeous. I need to put the fan over here because they're so thick in here. They're like laying on top of each other. And it's hot in here, so I want to promote, just good health within the plant. But yeah, there's a few more I can get. But I think that's all I'm going to take for right now. I'll take these. I got a little bit. I'm happy with that. I'll cut them up into small pieces and put them into a stir fry for tonight. Um, Super easy, little rotisserie chicken, some rice, some beans, maybe some broccoli that I think I have in the freezer, and then I add an egg in there too. It's super, super yummy. So good harvest. I love this. So yes, I just have one update today. So you all watched me plant out some pumpkins and to start a pumpkin challenge back in the spring, because you need 3 to 4 months to get them to maturity. I can honestly say that that seed did not work on the tower. I can honestly say that as tower gardeners, it's trial and error. They have to try, and sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't. I planted out 10 to 15 and only 2 were really viable. And what I ended up doing was taking them outside and putting them into a soil-based container, but they didn't really make it there either. The little pumpkins just seemed to almost rot. So I can say that maybe it was the seed. So down the road, maybe I'll give it another shot. But I think we tried it. It didn't work. So let's go ahead and move on. So I'm excited for the butternut squash because I can grow other squash. So why can't we do butternut? So we're going to put that on a tower. I'm using that survival skill, I think survival something seed. And I'll keep you guys updated on that. But I think we will be successful with that because I love that company and their seeds seem to be pretty hardy and they do well on the towers. So I'm sorry to say that there will be no little wee pumpkin coming from Tower Gardening Made Easy. We gave it our shot, but I think I'll be heading to a local nursery to buy one. So I'm Sherry. This is Tower Gardening Made Easy. Thank you so much for joining me today. And I look forward to seeing you very soon with the product that I mentioned to help you with any spider mites, aphids, or flies in your room.